In 2008, my wife at the time and I had our first child, and that was Camden. And he was completely healthy. He really, really loved breast milk. Any of the pictures you can see, just roll after roll in his stomach and his legs and everything else. And about 3 months into his life, he started developing some signs and symptoms that weren't normal. So we took him to a few specialists, and we ended up in the ER. And we were told that he had acute myeloid leukemia, AML. And we spent about the next 2 months in the hospital. That was our home until he passed away, because the cancer was very aggressive, and therefore his treatment was also very aggressive. And he was a strong little guy, but it wasn't enough. He wasn't strong enough. So he passed away at 160 days. He passed away on August 5th of 2008, and that summer, in July, I have a cousin named Paul, and Paul was a very strong rider. He's done a lot of cycling events and everything in the New York area, and he heard of 24 Hours of Booty, and it was something that he wanted to do. So at the time, he lived in South Carolina. He drove over with his pickup truck, and he had no team, he had no tent, and he rode 336 miles for that 24 Hours of Booty. And then he sent me the bib, and said for Camden and how many miles he rode. And I'm not a cyclist, still to this day. I'm not a cyclist. Anybody will tell you that. So I didn't understand what 336 miles meant. And he told us that he would get his hydration and his nutrition, and then when he needed to take a break, he would just open up the tailgate on his pickup truck, and he would take a break, and then he'd get back on the bike and he would ride. So Camden passed away, and Paul was like, man, you should really do this event. Like, it's some really, really good people, and it'll be good, good therapy and healing for you. And I was like, okay, well, what should be my goal? And, so we were sitting at like 100. I was like, okay, I'll do like 100 miles. And again, I hadn't even owned a bike at this point. I'm borrowing a bike from somebody, things like that. And he said, well, if you're going to do 100, he goes, why don't we do 160? And we'll do 1 mile for every day that Camden was alive. And I said, okay. And I'm 31, 32 at the time. And, I'm a firefighter, man. I'm in shape, and there's nothing that I can't do. I run into burning buildings. And to tell you that 160 miles around that 3-mile loop, or 2.88 mile loop, in July is humbling. It's 56 laps. It's a lot of heat. There are 2 hills, one much bigger that everybody knows about, more so than the other. And so it's 112 hills that you have to overcome if you want to do the 160 miles. And so the first year I went out there, we're riding along, and Paul's riding next to me the whole time. He stayed with me the entire time. And I came in around 150 miles. It was just kind of our normal break, type of thing, nutrition, fluids, things like that. And I sat there, exhausted in every way. Like, I'm not a fast rider. There was no sleeping on this, this year. And I sat there, and I was probably there 45 minutes, and Paul was like, okay, you ready to go? And I was like, no, Paul, I'm not. And he goes, well, no, come on, we got to get up and go. And I said, Paul, every mile represents a day in my son's life. I said, we're about to go into the days that he was in the ICU, and then he was intubated, and he was in a coma. And then my son's going to die on this ride, Paul. And Paul did what Paul does, and Paul got down on one knee, so he was right next to me, and he did one of those aggressive points to my heart, and he said, your son is right there. He goes, you could ride 1,000,000 miles, and he's never going to leave your heart. So we got up, and we went out, and we finished the ride, and it it was one of the greatest and saddest moments of my life, I guess I would say. To set such a goal that I didn't think I was ever going to reach, and then to be pushed physically, to be pushed mentally and emotionally, and to complete that goal. It was amazing. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell why I got involved with 24 Hours of Booty, why I keep coming back every single year. Some of the stuff that we've done to try to have a little team from Orlando be a big part of a very good cause in Charlotte.